What's up? How's it going? It's Chris, 2734. It's Chris. I'm here. I'm back. I've been gone for a while for a variety of reasons, none of which are really that important because I'm back. And I was going to be back last week, but I just can't think of anything to do. And I still can't really think of anything to do, but I just don't think that I can justify putting it off anymore because that would be lame as fuck. So, I don't know. I saw something today that kind of pissed me off. Kind of an example of one of our current issues here in America, the land of the free. Reading an article here in New York Times about the Chinese, the leader of the Communist Party, Hu Jintao, I believe is how you say his name, who came to the White House to discuss harmony or harmonizing or something. He's going to sing a duet with the president. They're talking about U.S. relations and all that shit, and I just can't stop myself from reading the comments, and I don't know why, because they always piss me off. But here's a comment from Hal, Malcolm's father, from Greenwich, Connecticut. I'm sure a bastion of extremely intelligent people in Greenwich, Connecticut. And this is the comment this gentleman says. Why the New York Times badmouths China so viciously before the historic Chinese president's visit to the States. Let us remember it was not too long ago that China was a very poor country with hundreds of millions of people starving. Why don't we give that government some credit? Let us face it, that government did that without going to war with anyone. Of course, there's a trade difference among nations, but it just seems that this newspaper has a deep-seated agenda, unhealthy and ill-minded. Let's address this comment, shall we? Why the New York Times badmouths China so viciously before the historic Chinese president's visit to the States. I didn't really see anything about the New York Times badmouthing China any more than China deserves, being a communist dictatorship, a totalitarian state that has made a point of being our adversary now, and it's not in their best interest. But if that's the angle they want to take, and that's the angle that they're going to take. Let's look at the next sentence here. Let us remember that it was not too long ago that China was a very poor country with hundreds of millions of people starving. This is a key point in understanding China. You know, when you saw the Beijing Olympics and how shiny and sparkly everything was, I don't even think we'll ever know how many people they had to displace from Beijing in order to make that happen. What they had to do to make China not appear to be a squalor-filled shithole, which is what it actually is. Because there are a billion people in that country, and guess what? They're still starving. China cannot feed its own population. People talk a bunch of shit about how fat us Americans are, and you can tell how fat the fuck I am because I lost 30 pounds since the last time I went to the doctor, and you can't even tell. But it is the first time in my life that my weight has ever gone down, so I consider it a great success. The pro tip is, don't drink pop. Who knew? China is still starving. People talk shit about us being so fat. The thing is that we have a surplus of food. We grow food and then we sell it to people. That's one of America's great advantages. We have a lot of farmland, a lot of resources, and we do quite well for ourselves. China, the people in the Communist Party, I'm sure, are living quite well, and it could be argued that the average Chinese person may be slightly better off working for essentially slave labor in a factory than they were working for essentially slave labor in rice fields. I don't know, take your pick. But I would question whether or not China is no longer a very poor country. Because they appear to have a lot of money, but that money is isolated in small groups. The average Chinese person is not doing that great, right, by a world standard. And you might be like, well, Chris, why, that's not what they say. Well, of course that's not what they fucking say, because they're a communist dictatorship and they're lying. Why don't we give that government some credits? Let us face it, that government did that without going to war with anyone. Well, of course, this fails to mention the Sino-Vietnamese War and various other border skirmishes with other nations in the area, because the calling card of the ignorant liberal, and I hate to get on this point, but that's what's going on here, is a person that has no fucking idea what they're talking about. This person actually believes that China is a benevolent giant, just kindly just making their money and selling plastic toys to us. No, they're not. They're fucking communists, and they maintain their power through terror and force. Do you have any idea how many people Mao killed in his cultural revolutions to get China to where it is today? This shit was not done, by blowing kisses. All right, this shit was violent, and China is just as guilty of the war crimes. It's just like the Soviet Union, what Stalin did. That's like saying, that it's. I don't know. I'm not doing very good today. First video in a long time. I can't keep all my ideas together. The point I'm making is that this person's fucking retarded. All right. If you find yourself defending one of the world's biggest human rights abusers, you fucked up. Okay. America is not perfect, but America is not. It seems as almost as if people have made it their goal to just support blindly anybody who is opposing America. Even fucking Americans do this. That's why, people on here are saying that we're a bankrupt empire. I don't believe that to be true. We're still, by a huge degree, of larger economic power than China, and by a huge, even bigger degree, a much more powerful military power than China. But if in any way we are a bankrupt power, it's that our people are bankrupt. All right, this man actually believes that fucking China is a better country than his, and he, supports China over America. The fuck is wrong with you people? And that's the main problem that we have economically with China, is American businesses putting their profit ahead of Americans, and I don't have the solution to that, besides punishing them with taxes or whatever else we can do to stop them from sending our fucking jobs over to that place. But there's been this impression recently that that China somehow has us by the balls, and I just don't feel that this is the case. They own a large quantity of our debt, but in reality it's a fraction of it, and their economy is based mainly off of exports, and those exports are mainly to us. China cannot begin to use its leverage of our debt that they own. They cannot use that leverage against us until they become self-sufficient. In other words, until they become a consumerist culture like us, when they can make their money by selling products to Chinese people. The problem is that Chinese people work for fucking peanuts, and they can't afford to buy that shit. So it's going to be at least another 20 or 30 years before China can even consider using that leverage against us. And the problem is that the media has actually convinced people that China is more powerful than us now, and that I don't know. This never would have happened in the Cold War. Use your heads. I don't know. I gotta stop now because I'm only allowed to put 10 minutes on my fucking YouTube channel now. So there'll be some more videos. I apologize if this one was not up to snuff. I don't know. It's been a while. I'll fucking see you folks later.